All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our February the 25th City Council meeting. I trust that all your cell phones have been placed on silence. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Dotley if she would lead us in the pledge and invocation if she so desires.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for a moment. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much. We thank you for this opportunity to come before you and serve your people. We pray that this meeting is done decently and in order, and that we can do what is pleasing to you. God, we love you and thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay. We have no special presentations this afternoon. Could I get a motion on the minutes? All right, we have a motion on the minutes with a proper second. With no objections, the minutes will stand as they are recorded. Looking at this week's agenda, Council, we don't have a two-week agenda, proposed agenda. That's what I'm trying to think of, because we will not be here next week due to our city elections. So looking at this week's agenda, under final reading, we have one item under planning. Any questions or comments concerning that? If not, looking at one item under first reading, under the Office of City Attorney. Any questions or comments? All right. Moving down into resolutions, we do have a couple under the Office of Community Health, and then two items under planning. Any questions or comments concerning any of these items? Councilwoman Jenny Burrs.
Yeah, under planning D, I am going to be asking for a deferral of 2 weeks on that. We still have a piece of information to gather from the applicant.
Okay. We'll make that note. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay, any other questions or comments under resolutions? If not, moving to our purchase items for this afternoon. I think we have two under Chattanooga Fire Department. Any questions or comments concerning any of these items? And then we do have one sole source purchase. Any questions or comments? If not, moving into our future considerations. Council, if you'd take a look over our future considerations, let me know if you have any questions or comments concerning any of those items. I think we do have, let me check the calendar. Mr. Attorney, was it a public hearing scheduled for
The 11th?
March the 11th?
Yes, sir.
Concerning the
Humane Education.
Humane Educational Society. We will need a budget amendment, I think,
Yes, sir.
on that, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we'll be having a public hearing on March the 11th on that. Any questions concerning future considerations that need to be brought to council's attention at this time? If not, we do have one committee this afternoon, our Education Committee, that is chaired by Councilwoman Knoll. So if there's no other questions, I'll turn the chair over to Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello. How's everyone? What? I didn't hear you.
Very well.
Praise the Lord, let's speak. Okay. So I will now call the meeting of the Education Committee to order. May I get approval of the minutes? Okay, thank you. With no objection, the minutes stand as approved. Is Mrs. Jones here? Please come up.
Now, I'm new to this pointer here, so I do have a presentation though.
Good.
Good afternoon, Councilwoman Noel, fellow council members. My name, of course, is Caritza Jones, and I am the very humble but proud administrator of the City of Chattanooga's Department of Early Learning. The Department of Early Learning is very near and dear to the City of Chattanooga's heart, as it started as an Office of Early Learning in 2017, and of course, under Mayor Kelly's administration in 2021, he derived the office into a department. We encompass 4 divisions: the Office of Early Learning, the Office of AmeriCorps Senior Foster Grandparents, the Office of Head Start and Early Head Start, and the Office of Community Forward. So as we go through the presentation, you'll be highlighted on information on bodies of work and information about our department. So the Department of Early Learning is also included in the One Chattanooga plans, as we are the first goal of the One Chattanooga plan, and that is to build a path to universal early learning. Our mission in the department is to help Chattanooga's children receive the best possible start in life by increasing their access to high-quality early learning experiences that shape their future. And our vision is that the Department of Early Learning will lead the movement in high-quality education where every child in Chattanooga is prepared to thrive. So we'll start with the Office of Early Learning. The Office of Early Learning does a plethora of things, and it is led by Ms. Jaleesa Brumfield. Jaleesa's in the audience. Jaleesa, please stand. Jaleesa is the director of the department, and she has 1 employee. Her name is Aikiko Bass, and Aikiko is our early learning business navigator, and she is here as well. Aikiko. And so Aikiko really leads the body of work as we know it for Seats for Success. So just to highlight some of the things that we have been able to accomplish under this current Seats for Success cohort that started in 2022, we support 29 cohorts. They're family, home, centers, and unregulated child care providers. And the total potential capacity there is 889 seats. Currently, we're looking at reclaimed seats. We have 567, new seats 236, for a total of 803 seats. Our goal by July of 2025 is 1,000. And with the work that Aikiko does and Jaleesa with Seats for Success, they support them through classroom observations, trainings, OEL's annual conference, early explorers, and provider cafes. Next up is a soon-to-be major highlight of the Office of Early Learning, but it is Sayubona, and it is our book bus, a mobile library, a mobile safe space, and a mobile family resource center that enhances kindergarten readiness. It's a mobile safe space. It provides whole family supports and literacy enrichment. The book bus is very near and dear to the Office of Early Learning because it has been a brainchild of the director, Jaleesa Brumfield, since her work as our Parent Family Community Engagement Coordinator in the Office of Early Learning. Jaleesa sought a grant through the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation in 2023, and it was accepted and granted in July of 2023, and her public launch will happen this summer, 2025. But that is a picture of the book bus. Inside, it is equipped, it's already being equipped with everything that we could need to support the community in a mobile way. And to speak to this, I had to go back to some notes that I had from Jaleesa talking about the book bus and why she chose the name that she chose. And so Sayubona is a Zulu greeting, meaning I see you. It recognizes each person's worth and dignity, saying, I see your experiences, passions, pain, strengths, weaknesses, and future. And so on there, not only will they be equipped with things to get them ready for kindergarten, but it's also family resource supports and all the other supports that we provide here in the Office of Early Learning. Some big wins that the Office of Early Learning has had. They do an Office of Early Learning Early Educators Annual Conference. Science of Reading, it began in 2023. Also, they just had another one in 2024, Science of Reading and Relaxation. Coming up is the Foundations of Early Success 2025, in which we will celebrate accomplishing, reaching our seats goal. And takeaways are emerging best practices and over $500 worth of related classroom materials. Also, with our Early Educators Annual Training, we have, in efforts to align with the public school system here in our education paths, we have aligned curriculums with the providers that we support, and also with Head Start by training them in creative curriculum, which is utilized by Hamilton County Schools. in their pre-K and kindergarten classes. They've also been trained with the grant screening tool that aligns to the Bracken assessment that Hamilton County uses for kindergarten assessment. And takeaways from there are emerging best practices, again, related toolkits and licensing training hours. So with this alignment, when we train them, when Jaleesa and Akiko have trained them, they leave with the tangible curriculums. They leave with the tangible testing items that they need to ensure that they're implementing these things in fidelity in their spaces. And lastly, early and often is a cohort, a research cohort of 16 families where we're using the remaining dollars from the sales funding, which is the Childhood Early Learning Scholarships. It provides enriched learning experiences, parent resource enrichment sessions, and takeaways from there are monthly K-Ready toolkits and experiences, unlimited access to the baby care closet, which is also an amenity that we have in our department, and valuable resources. The Office of AmeriCorps Seniors, most people know them as the foster grandparents or the foster grannies or foster grandpas, and they've kind of changed colors. They went from red little coats, now they wear blue. But foster grandparents is led by Claudius Pratt. Also in that office is Alicia McLaughlin. She is our field supervisor, and Miss Ruthie Barnum's administrative assistant, and they are here as well, right here. The mission of foster grandparents is to engage Americans 55 and older in volunteering to address community needs of children. Benefits to some of the volunteers is that there is a stipend that they're paid, but it doesn't affect any of their current income, so it doesn't take them into an income bracket that would allow them not to receive the benefits that they've so earned over their years of commitment and working. It also is a free annual physical examination, and they get mileage to their locations. Our foster grandparents are located in Chattanooga Head Starts, Hamilton County Elementary Schools, and several local child care learning facilities. If you see that picture right there, that is when the foster grandparents, they took a trip to Atlanta to the civil rights bodies of work, Martin Luther King monuments, those things. And so that's a group of our foster grandparents right there. Some big wins for foster grandparents are our senior volunteers in the training and supports that Claudius and his team provide to them. They are more comfortable in serving in their volunteer capacity, and the work now in this office has expanded to Bradley and McMinn counties. Our foster grandparent program has met their goal to obtain 55 foster grandparents. Due to COVID and just people, life happening, life stage changes, some of our foster grandparent participation had kind of dwindled. And so Claudius and his team worked very hard to obtain the 55 that they have, and they have a goal of 75 by mid-2025. And on their doors, they have these signs that say like 75 South because they're working toward the 75 goal. Lastly, one thing that Claudius and his team, and we are in the department very proud of, is that Claudius has managed to stay under budget for 5 years and counting, as the AmeriCorps Senior Foster Grandparent Program is a federal grants program, so the grant pays for all of the services that are provided there as well as the salaries. Next, we have the Office of Head Start and Early Head Start, and that is led by Miss Miranda Clark. Miranda. And she has a huge undertaking, if y'all know anything about Head Start right now. But this year with Head Start, we are in our grant reapplication season. So 2025 is our grant reapplication season, and it's among us. Every 5 years, we have to reapply for the Chattanooga Head Start grant, and we did that on January 3rd of this year, and that was submitted. And we're waiting for the federal government's response for another 5-year grant cycle, and that response is anticipated late spring, early summer. Currently enrolled in Chattanooga Head Start is 717 students. Our full capacity is 736, and currently employed in Chattanooga Head Start is 176 of our city employees. Chattanooga Head Start sites we have 4 main sites that are Chattanooga City sites: Avondale, Cedar Hill, Daisy, Hope City, and then we have 6 Hamilton County school sites, and those schools include East Ridge Elementary, East Brainerd Elementary, Hardy Elementary, Orchard Knob Elementary School, Woodmore Elementary School, and Calvin Donaldson. And then we have additional partnership sites at Chambliss Center for Children, Maurice Kirby Child Care, Newton Child Care, Purpose Point Learning Academy, and Children's Academy. Some big wins for Chattanooga Head Start and Early Head Start is that we recently opened a new partnership location at Children's Academy with a total of 1 Head Start classroom that includes 15 students, and then we have two early Head Start classrooms. Hamilton County, we have, of course, I mentioned the Calvin Donaldson and Hardy Elementary sites. Those are new pre-K classroom locations. Calvin Donaldson was opened, and then Hardy was actually, Hamilton County, in conversation with us, decided to no longer have a Head Start classroom in their Middle Valley Elementary School location. So the need, based on our community assessment, was for the Hardy Elementary area. We were able to move that classroom to Hardy Elementary to continue to service children. And lastly, the biggest win we've had thus far is that we were on an under-enrollment plan, but we're no longer there. Chattanooga Head Start is currently enrolling at least 97% of our funded enrollment for our federal grant. Office of Community Forward. So Office of Community Forward is led by Ms. Jacqueline Thomas. Jackie is here. The vision of Community Forward Schools is to ensure that students and families thrive and experience opportunity by design. For those of you all who are part of supporting the Community Forward movement from the very beginning, we know that it is a unique partnership between Hamilton County Schools and the City of Chattanooga, in which you all, the City of Chattanooga's council and mayoral administration, have invested over $1.5 million in actual staff persons and support for those staff people to do their jobs in 8 of our schools. And those schools initially started out at 7. So the City of Chattanooga became a lead agency partner in 2021 by onboarding 7 new community school coordinators. And at that time, it was Dalewood Middle School, Brainerd High School, Calvin Donaldson Elementary, Hardy Elementary, Orchard Knob Middle, Orchard Knob Elementary, and Woodmore. In 2024, no, let's go back, 2023, we did some swap out. And so Dalewood no longer needed that support. And so we were able to place that Community Forward School Coordinator in Tyner Academy. In 2024, the city invested in an additional community school coordinator at the Howard School, And so we are working in those 8 schools to support them. You see those mapped out on their location map there. Some big wins for Community Forward is 251 unduplicated school-based partnerships supported in the City of Chattanooga's Community Forward schools, over 11,100 total intervention services, tangible items, and or supports connected to students through the community school strategy. We have held 53 family engagement events, workshops, or activities supported in the City of Chattanooga Community Forward schools, and over $43,368 of in-kind donations and monetary contributions have been generated through the community schools strategy. We know that Mayor Kelly has a big heart and a zeal for ensuring that we're decreasing chronic absenteeism, and you all support him in that effort through supporting us. So I wanted to point out some data here. The Community Forward schools in the Midtown and Missionary Ridge footprints achieved a 2.6 decrease in chronic absenteeism during the school year of 2023 and 2024. The Community Forward schools in the Midtown and Missionary Ridge school learning communities also had a 4.2% decrease in exclusionary discipline responses during that same school year. So fewer students experienced multiple discipline responses. So just wanted to highlight that while we're not where we would like to be, we are on the trajectory for getting there with the supports that we're providing under the Hamilton County Schools Community Forward framework. Next, we have Basics Chattanooga. So Basics Chattanooga is our local affiliate of the Basics Boston, if you all are familiar with that through the Harvard School of Education. Basics are 5 fun, simple, and powerful ways that every family can use to help every child have a great start in life. They are maximize love and minimize stress, talk, sing, and point, count, group, and compare, explore through movement and play, and read and discuss stories. A big win there, and we have collaborated in a variety of settings with community stakeholders and partners internal and external, with the library, with the Office of Community Health, with Hamilton County Schools, with Erlanger's Children's Hospital. And so through the events that our Department of Early Learning Parent Family Community Engagement Coordinator has led, partnered in, or participated in, Basics Chattanooga has successfully engaged over 3,167 individuals from July 20th of 2024 to December 6th of 2024. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, we came to you all and did a presentation about a Future Ready Institute in which the city council approved ARPA dollars to support this effort. Well, I am proud and very excited to announce that the time is drawing nigh. So coming soon, fall 2025, at Tyner Academy under the UTC's Institute of Teaching, Leading, and Learning is the branded pathway of the One Chattanooga Institute of Early Care and Learning. The freshman academy class that's currently freshmen right now in the spring semester of 2025 will be eligible to sign up for this Future Ready Institute, and they will be the upcoming sophomore class coming in the fall. Upon their end of the senior year, those students that elected this pathway will be the first cohort to complete this program full out. They will have dual enrollment with Chattanooga State, and they will earn a certification through TECTA, the Tennessee Early Childhood Training Alliance. And a major plus here is that, in speaking with Principal Williams at Tyner Academy, they have teamed up with Chambliss to provide a staff child care center there. And so the students in the pathway will have on-site work-based learning right there at the Early Learning Center for the staff child care, in conjunction with the centers that agreed with us at the initial sign-on that they would support with shadowing and work-based learning as well. We're just really, really excited to know that it's soon to come, and Hamilton County is excited about that as well, and Mr. Williams, of course, is elated. He sent me some pictures, and I will forward those on to you, Councilwoman Noel. He sent those this morning of the space that they're going to use, but it'll be in the brand-new Tyner Academy. And so, everything's going to be really nice there, so he's excited about that. That concludes my presentation on all that we have going on in the Department of Early Learning. The highlights, we do a whole lot, but those are the major highlights there. And I want to say that none of this is possible without the team that you saw standing here. I am who I am because I have an amazing team who dedicates their time beyond the normal work hours, a lot of times the weekends. They're out, boots on the ground, engaged in the work that we do, because we all have a passion in our department to ensure that we're preparing the next generation of future-ready learners. Are there any questions?
I think we do. Who's first? This one. No, this, okay. So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
Henderson, go ahead.
We good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Could we go back to the chronic absenteeism slide? Okay, you
Right
missed it right there. Which we were at 2022, 2023, 42%. We've got it down roughly at 40%. What's the difference between chronic absenteeism and truancy?
That's a good question. So chronic absenteeism is when you miss a consecutive amount of days within the 180-day time frame of the school year. And I think it's 10%, so it's like 18 days.
It's like what?
18 days. It's 10% of that. So 180 days they're in school, you miss 18 days, you pretty much missed half of the school year. So truancy is when students are course missing days, but with the absenteeism, and I gotta take my time with this, with the absenteeism, they're missing days, but they show up at some point, right? But they've missed that amount of days. Truancy is that they're not coming to school. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Okay, so they're not coming to school at all, is what you're saying?
Right, it's hard to find them. Some of them are displaced, not attending, that sort of thing at all. And so then when you do find them, you're doing credit recovery, you're doing success academies, all those things, or you're trying to do evening schools or things to help them acquire the credits that they've missed for whatever reason that they've missed school.
So the chronic absenteeism is 18 absentees within how long?
Out of 180 days,
Out of 100? Okay. Or
180.
Okay. So, to me, if a kid's not in class, they're not learning. So, are we, like our social workers that are there, I guess we're addressing this with the parents, and is the juvenile courts involved in the chronic absenteeism or just in the truancy?
So Judge Filia is aware of what's happening there. And I'm going to bring Jackie up to speak to this because our role as community forward coordinators are not that of a social worker. So we work as part of that care team. So there's a social worker, there is the counselor, there are your teachers, your administrators, and then there's the community forward. We provide the resources. Our job is with community forward, Jackie, is that we provide resources to help alleviate the social barriers that could create academic barriers. But we're not full throttle responsible for the truancy.
So
But Jackie can speak to that.
Kind of barking up the wrong tree here then.
You probably want to talk to us in another setting.
Appointment?
Probably want to talk to us in another setting. But Jackie can speak to that.
Okay.
And just to correct, when you talk about the truancy officers start looking at children when they miss about 3 days. They start trying to see what's going on with that pattern, in that pattern that they continue to go on. And as Carissa said, the chronic absenteeism is usually that over 10 days that they have been absent, and that they're trying to find where those people are. A lot of times they are fit families in transition. But what the community forward coordinators are doing are trying to find out, why are these kids who may be on the radar after they've missed 3 days, why are they missing school? And if they're missing school for something as simple as we don't have uniforms, then what we are trying to do is to provide those non-academic resources to make sure children are getting to school. Because if you're not at school, of course, you all know you cannot learn. So the community forward coordinators are trying to help remove whatever barriers these parents are telling us they have so that the child can be in school to learn. And so when you tend to find those, as Krista said, those chronic absentee children, they're children that are constantly in transition, maybe homeless, maybe wherever. We need to find them. The truancy officer has to find them. But when they're chronic absent, the court is aware of those youth. But we're trying to work with that truancy officer instead of always going to a family's home or talking to a parent about the negativity of the child. What is it that you need? How can we help? What resource can we put within your home, whether it's the job? We generally work under the 4 areas of health, education, employment, and housing, because those are the main barriers in any family. So if we can try to change those and have the families change their lives through new employment, better education, that's what we're trying to do, provide those resources. And a lot of the resources that we provide them with already exist within the city, but there are community partners that we partner with, trying to get those partners to provide those resources that we can't provide.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Good, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Councilwoman Dotley.
Yes, thank you, Carissa. It was a great presentation and great job, well done.
Thank you.
I just had a couple of questions for you. We Academy in South Chattanooga, because of course, I love all things South Chattanooga. I believe they went through your cohort, if I'm not mistaken. So my question is, how do people or other daycares get signed up for the cohort? And then what are the prerequisites for it?
I'll let Akiko come speak to that.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
And yes, We Academy is a part
Yes,
of
ma'am.
cohort 2. If you would like to be a part of the cohort, it's just as simple as reaching out and just saying, hey, we want to be a part of the cohort. How I got the first cohort went through a list of child care providers to see exactly what their needs were, if there were any needs that they had in the community, and provided those needs, and with training and conferences and different resources that they need to expand their seats and to increase the quality of their program. So it is open to anyone within the greater Chattanooga area, any provider. So.
Okay, and there's nothing, they don't have to come with, do they have to come with like a business license, or is there anything?
No, we will help you get all of that. So we have some that are unregulated that's going through the regulation process. And then we have some that are unregulated and want to remain that way. So it doesn't matter. There are no prerequisites. We're just here to help.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My
And I was at the
pleasure.
grand opening, so you know I had to mention it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. My
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. And then, Ms., I'm gonna be professional, Mrs. Jones. You mentioned that the schools in Midtown and Missionary Ridge footprint, came down, decreased their absenteeism. Which schools are those? Because I am not school board versed.
Okay.
Okay.
So the community forest schools that we support, and I'll go back to this map right here. The community schools that we support in the Midtown, actually, every community school that we support is in Midtown and or Missionary Ridge, but I'll point them out. So Midtown schools are Brainerd High School, Calvin Donaldson Elementary, Hardy Elementary, Archer Knob Middle, Archer Knob Elementary, and Woodmore Elementary, and Howard Elementary. I'm sorry, Howard High School.
Okay,
And then Missionary Ridge is Tyner.
okay, that works. All right, and I think,
And then Delwood, I said Delwood, right? But Delwood, we no longer support Delwood, but it is in the Midtown schools. So the Midtown schools are really your former, if you're familiar with the I-Zone schools, the Innovation Zone schools, or the Opportunity Zone schools.
Okay.
It's those schools, and then any school that they look at potentially that may be at risk for becoming that. Is why that's the case. But Tyner is a level 5 school statewide. They're under Missionary Ridge.
okay. My last question, because I know you said y'all just did your application for the federal funding. What, if any, plans are you having just in case things go awry with Head Start funding?
So our plan, because, and I've said this in our team, I say this all the time, I'm a big person on manifestation, so I'm not looking for anything other to go awry. So I'm really big on that, very prayerful, and I believe in manifestation for that. We're not looking for anything to go awry. We submitted a very competitive grant. We hired a consultant, Foundations for Families, that they specialize. That's how they make their money, on knowing that they actually resecure people's grants for reapplication processes. And so we submitted a very competitive grant. We feel very confident that we have what we need in place to secure that grant. The only reason why I could think that we might not resecure that grant is if federal government decides they don't want to fund Head Start. But as long as they're funding Head Start, I'm very confident in the grant that we submitted there. If the federal government decides that they do not want to continue to fund Head Start, then that probably would be a conversation for me to come back here and talk to you all. And what that would look like. We know that Chattanooga, the city of Chattanooga, has held the Head Start grant for 50 years, 50 plus years. City of Chattanooga is known for their Head Start program and the invaluable contribution that we provide in the lives of our littles. And so we know that you all believe in this. We know that our city residents believe in this. And so hopefully our federal government continues to believe in this work that is now 60 plus years in the making at a federal level, and will continue to fund that work. I will say this, in efforts to support us, we, and our director Miranda was speaking about this morning in our policy council and Head Start Governing Council, we are encouraging anyone that is a supporter of Head Start to reach out to our federal delegation and reach out to our federal leadership and let them know that you support Chattanooga Head Start, you support Head Start services here in our city, just in case they're going down the list and they might not feel like we support it. Let's let them know that we're supported in that work. But ultimately, it is my manifestation, and we don't even have to have that conversation.
Ma'am, thank you so much. I will come in agreement with you on that manifestation.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you
Good,
so much,
madam.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Yeah, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay.
Hill.
Kritza, thank you very much for your leadership at the city and the work that you all are doing. I want to come back to the foundational goal to build a path to universal early learning. At the beginning, we looked at how many seats the administration has reclaimed and how many are new seats. So we've got a total of 803. Can you take that apart a little bit more for us to understand? Does that mean that we have 803 early learning seats in the entirety of Chattanooga, including seats not taken care of by the city? Help us understand how many little children we have seats for in the city of Chattanooga.
Okay, and I'm gonna get Jaleesa and Akiko to come up to this, but these are seats that we support, that we're working with people, right? At this time, Early Matters is even working to get the most accurate number of childcare seats that we have here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County.
What does reclaimed seats mean?
Yes.
So I'll let them,
So 2.5 years ago, when I first got the position as business navigator, they were telling me, hey, Kiko, you have to go out and help expand seats. So I was like, we can't expand because of COVID. We've lost so many. So it's hard to expand. What we have to do is reclaim the seats that we lost first. So when COVID hit, of course, everyone stopped working, and there was loss of staff, loss of children. So even when the staff came back after COVID, it was hard getting those children to come back to reclaim those seats. So we have been able to help the providers reclaim those seats because there were no little butts in the little seats. So we had to get those kids back before we could expand. So then we had a couple of childcare sites opening up new sites. So those are new seats, right? So we don't want to count reclaimed seats as new seats. We wanted to put them in a whole nother category as opposed to new actual seats opening up that's never had the little butts in those new little
Okay.
seats. So
And then we've got 717 enrolled in Head Start and Early Head Start. So that is part of that 803, correct? Or is it separate?
it is semi-separate, sort of, kind of. We do have a couple of the childcare sites in our cohort that do have a collaboration with Head Start, but not many of those. I think it's Children's Academy and Purpose Point are the only two. So we do have some of those, but most of us are standalone sites. They don't have
Okay,
the
so the
collaboration.
Office of Early Learning, we're not double counting, we're not counting them in
Oh,
two categories.
we are
They're
not.
very
We're
separate.
not.
Okay, so that's great to understand.
Yeah.
So we've got a goal of 1,000 seats by July 2025, so just in a matter of months. And you say those are seats that are Chattanooga, City of Chattanooga supported, and they're not Head Start seats. So help us understand the finances of that and what it means to be Chattanooga supported seat, and we're not writing a subsidy for every one of these, I know.
We are not. So when we support with opening of new seats, we support by resources. So our old site up on 12th Street closed, and Head Start had all of this old furniture that they could not use. We had a couple of new sites who needed furniture, and they could use that. So that is money that they did not have to take out of their pocket, but to spend. So we were able to give them that furniture to help with those seats. Also trainings, and quality too, with training, classroom observations, and resources, materials, to help them open up those classrooms. Otherwise, those are monies that they would need to do that, and that can sometimes put them kind of on the back burner of opening up on time, or even opening up at all without the proper resources.
Okay, that's really helpful to understand. I know the economics of childcare and early childhood learning are extraordinarily difficult, about as difficult as trying to get housing to be affordable. Okay, so,
which is why we also really quickly, Councilwoman Hill, talk about, and Akiko, we talk about the reclamation of seats because ratios, licensing, all of those things. So just like what she said, turnover with staff, when you think about seats that you're reclaiming, you're also reclaiming seats by being able to employ a teacher that may be able to open up a classroom for you of an infant room because it's a 2 to 8 ratio, 1 to 4, 2 people to 8 ratio, right? So if
Right.
you're able to hire 2 infant teachers, then you're able to reopen a classroom of 8 kids.
well, early childhood education and access to it is very important to the people of District 2 because especially as we came out of COVID, so many families couldn't go back to work until they found quality childcare for their children. And obviously, as a city, without a volume of quality childcare, we have children that are not ready for kindergarten. So, and then that gets us all the way up the chain to this high absenteeism. A question about the community, thank you both for the work that you do and the innovation that you're employing. I appreciate it. Switching to the Community Forward School, Caritza, you said that the decreases in absenteeism and exclusionary discipline, I mean, we can all agree they're pretty low decreases. What is your goal? You said that wasn't your goal, but what are y'all aiming to get to?
So our goal, of course, would be to alleviate it, right?
Yeah.
But we know we're just one person. And I'm gonna bring Jackie back up to this because she has a program that she's working on through the city to do that. But our goal, of course, is to alleviate that, but that comes, we're just a piece of that puzzle.
Right.
Through student success planning, linking them to resources, doing those things. We're doing everything that we can within our parameters and the resources that we have to do that, but that takes a community effort. The city of Chattanooga does not have the solution to that, right? Even if we had the funding, we still wouldn't have the solution to what that looks like. But we have methods in place and are doing things to put in place to support that. So I'll let Jackie talk about some of the initiatives that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got a 40% chronic absenteeism, you can't, it would be unrealistic to say we want it to be zero
Right.
next year. So, I mean, I wonder what is our hope for our impact?
And we're following, and I'll be honest with you, this data that we're showing you, this is Hamilton County's data. We provide the inputs to the work that the Community Forward does. They give us the output or the outcomes to that. And so a lot of their data is based off of the Opportunity 2030 plan as well and what their goal is for that, excuse me. But we know that ultimately, and like I said, Jackie's going to speak to this. I think one big piece that we have to look at as city government, beyond just the Department of Early Learning, as we collaborate various departments, and you all lead the work as council, is to change the economic mobility for our citizens. Because when you change the economic mobility for our citizens, it provides upward mobility for them, right? And so everybody's rising, which then you're decreasing poverty, and we know poverty begets other things, right? Social determinants of health and all those things and how they align. So a big piece there, I think, as you all continue to support us in the work, is helping us or providing resources that we can provide to the families and the children to change their economic mobility. But I'll let Jackie speak to that.
When you talk about what we're doing to try to help reduce the absenteeism, the disciplinary, and also to do academic achievement, the support that we give are supposed to be there to remove academic and non-academic barriers. So that's overall any barrier that a family may have, because we look at the family holistically instead of just working with the child. So what we found out through the various researches and what we know that children who idle time when it comes to children and juveniles generally create crime, gives them nothing to do. So we are there to try to connect them with various positive supports that are in the community, and there are a lot. We have our community development centers that also offer after-school tutoring, various other programs that a lot of families may or may not know. We have libraries which offer various information about book reading, learning. You can get there free now with all of the creative partnerships that have been established. And we're also learning about new ways to engage our families. Some of our families are afraid to go within school. How do we change that? We try to change that through a lot of parental involvement. And one of the things that we're trying to initiate, and we just recently partnered with the Chattanooga Basics, which is another DEL learning, because we all know the foundation of any child starts at the lower age, really through birth, 0 through birth. And that's what basic is, 0 through 5. So it starts there with the home. And we know that 85% of these children's brains are developed at that age, at between lower than 5 years of age. So in doing that, what we have started to try to do in partnering with the Basics, who is also about literacy, who also our Department of Early Learning is also about literacy, we're partnering with them to see what we can do to help strengthen the foundation of our children that are in our school. And one of the things in data shows us is that dads are one of the keys to when it comes to children learning. It helps improve academics, it helps improve attendance, it helps improve behavior. So we started, since we're basing it on data, we've started a data program, which our dads are the anchor and answer. And so we're hoping to engage fathers into children's reading. We just started it, and what we have done, Basic has done locally, is partner with several authors that are here in the city that have written children's books that children can relate to, we can put an experience with, we can begin the learning at a earlier age. So as they begin to learn to read, we help trying to prevent also the third grade retention rate. So if we're starting at a younger age and building that strong foundation at that third grade retention rate with our fathers being actively engaged in our children's lives, what we know makes a difference and makes a change, we're hoping to also change that as well. So that when they take the test, they're beginning to start learning to read. We're wanting kids to be able to come and say, hey, I want to be in there, I want my dad, and trying to get dads involved. Most of the time, if you are parents, you know, it's always the mom a lot of times. But the reality is we have a lot of fathers out here that are actively engaged in their children's lives. And we're trying to combat that. We're trying to bring them in and say, hey, we see you, we need you. And from the old concept, as all of you know, being community people, it is truly true, it takes a village. So we want the village to start at home where all learning starts. So if it starts there.
So thank you for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can
thank
go
you.
on. She's very passionate. I can go on.
Which is wonderful. It causes me, I understand that because we're in a partnership with Hamilton County Schools, a lot of the data we're getting is coming back from them. But as a funder of this, something that I'm looking at is what are the markers that we can tell this is making an impact? And so chronic absenteeism may or may not be the thing that we want to look at. We know that academic performance, we talked about third grade retention, et cetera. Like, we want to know that we're investing in something that is going to move the needle for these children over the long term. And so something I'd be interested to understand is how do the results within our community forward school big wins compare to the big wins in community schools run by other nonprofits? And are there things that we can learn from them? Are there things they can learn from us, so that we can see greater positive movement? And then one final question that I had about Tyner Academy. How many students do we anticipate are going to participate in the academy?
I'm talking to Olivia Bagby and Lisa Blakely. That's unknown. I mean, it's based off of how they sign up in Future
Okay.
Readiness.
Well, I'd love to know.
But I can get you that
once they
number.
get,
And we have there is Hamilton County can get us the data to show. So we're one of the lead partner agencies for Community Forward, but there are two other lead partner agencies. So there's Northside Neighborhood House, and there's also On Point. And so
Okay.
we can ask them to get that data to compare what our schools are doing with what their schools are doing.
And obviously, I mean, each school is different. We're working with some of the most impacted by poverty schools in the district. So we've got a big hill to climb, but I think that would be useful for us all to learn from each other. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, you good, Madam Vice Chair?
I am.
Okay, let's see who next. Councilman Hester.
Thanks for the presentation. How can the city council strengthen its collaboration with the department, create better database-driven policies that enhance the early childhood education outcome?
Repeat that for me again. How can the city council support data
How can the city
outcomes?
council strengthen this collaboration with the department, create better data-driven policies that enhance early childhood education outcome?
Tell us what you want. Like, tell us, we're working based off of what we know from best practices, things that are going on in the realm of early learning and childhood education, based off of what data shows us through Children's Cabinet supports, through Early Matters supports, through Bright Start Early Matters reports, Children's Cabinet reports, and Bright Start reports, and just based off of a community assessment. So a lot of the things that we do is because we've done feasibility studies, community assessments, surveys, and engage the community to see what do they need from us to help their children be successful. And of course, also with our community partners and stakeholders, what do you need from us to align to the bigger system? What we know is that the city of Chattanooga, as people love to say, is not the LEA anymore, right? But it doesn't mean that we don't do our part in supporting education We just supported the early foundational years. And so we're not the system, but we can be a system that aligns to the bigger system, and the bigger system is Hamilton County Schools. And so we do look to their strategic plan. We do look to their leadership oftentimes at the various levels. So we work a lot with Ms. Kim Pringle. She is the Director of Early Learning at Hamilton County Schools. Miranda and I work a lot with her to see what are they doing at their pre-K kindergarten level, what are they seeing differences, which is why we were able to align the Brigance to Bracken, right? So that was not just we're gonna do that, right? There was conversations with Jaleesa and with Miranda and with Christy and with Brecken Duckworth from Hamilton County and Ms. Pringle and Becky Coleman, Becky Coleman before she left. There were conversations about that, like, because Hamilton County did not have a kindergarten assessment. There was nothing in place at first. And that was a really big thing, a soapbox for Jaleesa, like, I don't understand how we supposed to know if they're ready, that was a big thing, right? And so she was looking at ways as to which the Office of Early Learning could assess that. And so in doing that, she looked at a variety of assessments, she and Christy, and then they had conversations with Brecken Duckworth, which then told us that Hamilton County was getting ready to begin the Bracken, and I'm saying it that way because there's a whole lot of brus going on, the Bracken. And so just looking at ways to system align. And so I think the best way for community engagement, for data outcomes, or for reports to you all is that if there's something specific that you want more information about, or do you want us to particularly delve into and to look into based off of what you may be learning from NLC or CSSP or anything like that, to share those with us as we have conversations or hear things. I know Councilwoman Knoll attends, excuse me, when she's able to, she attends Head Start Governing Board, and she asks all the questions she need to ask in there to get the information that she needs. But if you're in those meetings, and there's something coming up that you feel like, hey, I want to know more about this, or can you give us more data on this? Let us know that, because what we're trying to do is align, and we have a strategic plan that's coming out very, very soon, where it's being reviewed now by NLC just as a final support. But we have a strategic plan, and it is called Vision 2030. Great by 8 and beyond. And so we're trying to establish what that looks like for building building a foundation for the next generation of future-ready learners. But our goals of that plan are the priorities of Mayor Kelly's One Chattanooga goal to build the universal path. So we didn't reinvent the wheel. We used that main goal as our North Star, and then we took the priorities, I think 6 priorities that we have there, 7 priorities that are there. And we use those each as a goal of the strategic plan. And in there, we're providing KPIs and strategies as to how we will do that. And so I think once that comes out, that might be more helpful with you all wanting to assess or see where we're going with specific things, because we've been very thoughtful in what that looks like. We're a very advantageous group, but we talk a lot about making sure that we're doing things that are attainable.
Are you good?
We good.
Okay. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. Great presentation. Thank you, Ms. Jones. And of course, you got a great team here, very passionate, all of them, with the work that they're doing. I honestly think that that you guys are doing exactly what the department was created to do. We can't ask, and I know a lot of times that council, we will put more demands on you, like, well, what's the impact? How can we move it in further? How can you do, those things to me are not for the wheelhouse for you to do. And a lot of times it's bigger than what our arena of things they can do. Because when you displayed the schools that you have, and all those schools been on the list time and time again, as you've shared, not to mention that we also talked about that all those schools are coming from concentrated, impoverished areas. A lot of the households we see the data, the same data each and every day. When we talk about these things that are led by single-parent homes, you have a lot of them coming from housing developments. You have a lot of them that's, welfare recipients stuck in that cycle, that poverty mindset. Your department can't fix that at all, and we all know that. And to put certain ask or task on you, like wouldn't even be a fair assessment or thing for you all, because we know it's something bigger than what Community Forward can do. Now, I do know you have the players on your team that wouldn't mind diving into that, because they kind of doing that because that's just the way that they are wired, and that's their passion to go above and beyond. But we have to start asking for realistic expectations of the department. You all have taken Mayor Kelly's priorities, and you doing it, all of y'all. So I commend y'all with that, with just that creation of it, just being that person to add resources to, extending the number of seats that we had from, and to keep that going from the prior administration to now, reclaiming those seats, thinking about, you know, the unborn, from in the womb out, that early learning and those things are all important. But we do have bigger issues, like we can't, everybody's goal is we want to reduce it down to zero. We will all love that. We want to see crime down to zero, but we know that that's an unrealistic expectation. And I think that you're doing good and trajecting in the best way that you can with the resources and the tools that you have and the partnerships that you all have going on here. But my question, outside of that, with the community service, community centers of what you're doing, we've been having these talks about the community centers having their hours extended. They're open until 8 o'clock. The same kids that we're talking about and asking you questions about, they go to these community centers. Even if they don't go to school that day, you can find them more than likely in our community centers. And the conversation has been around, well, you know, do we close our centers earlier so our kids can have the opportunity to be at home with their parents, you know, get their homework done, get them out, get enough sleep so they can be prepared for the very next day. And on the other side of that coin is being, well, you know, a lot of the kids that come don't have a place to go, or they're this or they're that. It's that mentality that the government has to be the one stop to fix every household in our community, and we know that that's just not right. We've removed the ban of the parents to become the caretakers of their kids. So with that being said, like what would you suggest? The partnership because you all are kind of partnering with the school, kind of being aligning with them, but also making sure that our community centers are doing the same exact thing and partnering with our schools and everybody, just moving with the same expectation of, you know, making sure that our kids are prepared for learning the next day.
So Mayor Kelly often expresses that he, with Community Forward, that our centers are always a space where we can utilize those for whatever we need to. And for some correlation here, every school that we support in Community Forward is within walking distance, bike ride distance, or bus stop from a center, a community development center, or several. Example, Archer Knob Elementary, Archer Knob Middle. You have Glenwood Center, you have Carver Center, you have Avondale Center, Hardy Elementary, you have Avondale Center, East Chattanooga Center, Tyner, you have Tyner Center, Cromwell Center, Shepherd Center, thank you, Shepherd Center, and then Brainerd, you have Chris Ramsey, you have Eastdale Center, you have Cromwell Center. So there's all these centers, and we do work alongside with them on a lot of things. So I'll give you an example with Brainerd High School. The Success Academy for Brainerd High School is in the Chris Ramsey Center. You all know that, but just that correlation there. But Bria, who is the coordinator there, often does work, you know, supports that community development center and that center staff with outside programming as well. All of them do. Calvin Donaldson is Southside Center, East Lake Center, so all of those centers there. So they all collaborate. We would love to continue to stretch those out, those communities out, and move that forward. Love to do that in any way that we can. Working with the Community Development Center, and we are part of the Community Resource Hub meeting, Mayor's Committee that we meet on every fourth Mondays. But we are a part of that work with Carol and her team, Joy and their team, on where we fit into that. So we're a piece of that puzzle as well, always willing to extend where we can.
Well, thank you for the work that you're doing. I know, like I say, I end with this, that we put a lot on y'all's lap to be the one-stop fixer-all for everything, and but I know that that's just not impossible. And thank you all for everything that you're doing, especially around the chronic absenteeism and the decrease in exclusionary discipline, because we know that juvenile justice, is very important. And if we can keep as many kids out of the system as possible, like, I'm glad that you all are even having a small focus on it and continue to do the work that you're doing, so congratulations on it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good, Councilwoman Kumar? Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Carissa Mosley Jones. Thank you so much. Such an amazing presentation. absolutely fabulous. And I want to thank my council family for the great questions that you all asked. So you did your chairwoman proud. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
all.
And I just want to again thank my team. And I forgot to mention one person, she's gonna get mad at me. But Miss Janice Williamson is here. She's our executive assistant. Miss Janice Wade. Miss Janice is a heartbeat of our department. So she is our EA, but she really serves as an office coordinator because she helps all of us. But she's the heartbeat, so I didn't want to forget her being here today. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Chair, 5. Recess until 5. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have 5 o'clock on the dot. We will reconvene our city council meeting for February the 25th. Madam Clerk, if you would, ordinances on the final read, 7A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 2659 Glass Street from RN15 residential neighborhood zone to CTMU transitional mixed-use commercial zone.
Councilwoman Coonrod?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no? The chair rules that the motion does carry. Moving to ordinances on first reading. Madam Clerk, 8A, please.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 14, relating to the electrical code.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving now into resolutions. Madam Clerk, with no objection, would you take 9A and B together, please?
Item A, a resolution authorizing the Office of Community Health to apply for funding from the Industrial Development Board in the amount of $50,000, and if awarded, use the funds to initiate the City on the Hill Digital Equity Workshop Pilot Program, a 16-week workforce development workshop for youth ages 16 to 21. Item B, a resolution authorizing the Office of Community Health to apply for funding from the National Resources Conservation Service in the amount of $93,750, and if awarded, use the funds to initiate the Chattanooga Grows Urban Agriculture Initiative. Funds to hire a Director of Urban Agriculture who will be tasked with developing a comprehensive actionable plan to promote urban agriculture in Chattanooga.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 9A and B with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, 9C, please.
A resolution approving a new special exceptions permit changing ownership for a liquor store located at 5301 Highway 153, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
All
Move to approve. Second.
right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. And the chair votes no. 9D, please.
A resolution approving a new special exceptions permit for a new liquor store located at 7354 East Brainerd Road.
Councilwoman Jenny Burrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask, can we combine D with B under other business? They're
Well,
the same issue, or we do it separately?
If we defer
Yeah,
it for 2 weeks, that'll become a non-issue.
Okay, all right, good. Then I would like to move to defer D for 2 weeks, please.
Okay, that'll be till March the 11th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to defer until March the 11th. We have a motion on the floor with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving now into purchases. Tally.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I have two recommended approvals for this evening for you. The first one is for the fire department. Approval is requested for a name change from Emergency Vehicle Specialist to Siddons Martin Emergency Group for agreement PA 100716 firefighter leather boots. And the second one is for the fire department. This is a requested increase of $635.05 to cover freight charges with All Safe Industries, bringing the new total amount to $126,316.14. The fire department has requested and approved the increase.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve this evening's purchase request with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. So moved.
Okay, I've got one sole source to report. This is for wastewater, It's for the VT SCADA license renewal in the amount of $38,955.75.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, and other business, Mr. Attorney, you are passing around the certificate of compliance
Yes, sir. This
for
is,
the Northgate liquor, is that correct?
yes, sir, for Northgate Liquor LLC, DBA Northgate Liquor. It's at 5301 Highway 153 in Chattanooga. It's in District 3, and it meets all of the requirements for our ordinance here, and the location has been approved at that point.
Okay. All right, that takes us to the time on our agenda that we recognize persons wishing to address the council this evening. Do we have anybody that would like to address the council? Mr. Attorney, if you would read the rules to address the council.
Yes, sir. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized up at the microphone up front provided for that purpose, and you can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority and are regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. You can't engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law, and someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Okay, thank you. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, gray haired Fox man with the $1 trillion board. 727 East 11th Street is my place of domicile, that homeless encampment. To all of you that's running in your race, good luck. But I plan to play a recording tonight. I didn't get your attention. We'll start it next week, March the 4th. That's the very same week that I first submitted my immediate removal from office ouster that has been plagiarized by everyone. The immediate removal of office ouster is for the official dereliction and official misconduct of everyone that's been on the city council, the county commission, and who have served in your courts. It's for the outsiders that have come into my hometown via District 6 and all of the people that she brought into this city. We're going to start that next week. I'm going to prove to you that a call that I made from Nashville to all of you on December the 1st, this councilman here has a copy of that. He should have it. All of you should have heard it. That informed District 6 that she has to trade places with Chief Celeste Murphy. Now, you all have done whatever game this is that you have played. I call it follow the leader. And that's exactly what each and every one of you are going to do, because Monty Bell is entitled to $211 billion, $34 million for fraud that has been committed by an outsider here in my city from the racist states of Carolina. Mr. Phil Noblin, you've committed fraud on the entire 11th Judicial District Court against citizen, not resident, but citizen Monty Dwayne Bell. Now, I didn't attend a high school or college with you or District 6 Carol Burrs, nor anybody that she brought into my life. We're going to get my classmate, Karen Burrs, and her mixed children here to verify that Monty Bell is not the classmate of Karen Burrs.
Mr. Bell,
We'll see you next week.
you're through. Anyone else that'd like to address the council this evening?
Thank you.
My name is Cole Harper, and confusion is something that we can all relate to at times, but we can all be certain that making the community a better place is a community effort, and it is very important how elected officials represent the people. Transparency, accountability, and communication is so very vital for a foundation that supports the growth and steady flow of new ideas, healthy competition. That being said, how can we be so focused on money, labels, zoning rights, greed, and lust that we ignore the overall well-being of ourselves and others? It's important that we collectively are laying the framework for a golden age where all the people, more importantly the youth, have such an abundance of opportunity, the only choice is to pursue prosperity, where help is given and not earned for everyone, not for one race because we all have the same finish line, and not for one class because we all have the same principle. When we fail the individual, we fail the society, and vice versa. I pray, hope, and meditate that there will be a day when the incentives to help and build each other will be greater than the incentives to harm and put each other down. When the truth is revealed and we accept it without personal bias. Mistakes will and have been made, but they are not losses, they are lessons. Please, let's chase unity and not division. You may go faster alone, but we will go further together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else that'd like to address the council this evening? Wait just a minute. Council, please forgive me, I've made a mistake. I have passed over committee reports, so I need to back up and take committee reports before we adjourn. Yeah, wouldn't want to miss that. Councilwoman Coonrod.
With your previous permission earlier, I just need to address a matter with my committee under community development, the recreation centers. Ms. Joy is still here. There's still been some ongoing complaints around our recreation center, and it's really still heartbreaking to hear that our community centers are like the worst, one of the worst departments within city government. And to continue to hear that and continue to hear the complaints from our center staff, it's just quite disturbing at this point. And I know we keep having the same conversation. It's been kind of ongoing. We appointed Carol Hunter. It's been 6 months now, so she's had like a little over 180 days to kind of shift the culture here. Now, one thing I can say, I don't know if y'all want to check out my man here, Chief Chambers, because he understood the assignment when he went in to shift the culture of the police department. And that same level of expectation was expected when the changes happened within our community center. They're just not happening. And we having the same issues, the same complaints from our staff. The morale of our community employees, community center employees is just horrible. And you guys, I know you did a retreat, you done come up with the My Chat Connect, the community surveys and different things like that. And one of the things that the mayor said when he appointed Carol Hunter was that it was catalyzing economic vitality in underserved communities and building regional economy, which is 2 pillars within the One Chattanooga plan. So I'm asking for you all to submit to us, the council, what you all have done to try to shift the culture and the moving and the processes, the pieces. And I know she's only been here with us 180 days, but a certain level of impact should have been happen, and the shift should have happened. I've also heard it being said, even within our community, to where it's the worst ran, and it just so happened to be a department that's kind of managed under all Black people, African-American people, and people often look at diversity and they often see, oh, it's just Black people, and our centers are equipped to be and service everybody, no matter what color that your skin is, and I will hope that our operations and the inside of that reflect that too, that every need and everybody in our community, that the community centers are a place to service them too. But we do all know that there's a lot of things that need to be done in the respective places of those. So if you could just send it out to council, those things. Because we just want to be ahead of the curve. We don't want anything else to occur. That kind of thing, that we do know what our role is when it comes to council, is that we do confirm the appointment of department heads, but we also have the right to ask for a reevaluation, and we don't, I personally, I wouldn't want that to happen. I like Carol, I've been an advocate for Carol, but we do expect different measures to be happening with this department, and we just continue to kick this department down the road. And for me, as a chair, it's a bad reflection. Right, we got legislative priorities, we keep having the same conversations. Even our staff has mentioned, the heaviness up in management, but we just gotta have a bigger conversation on what's the issue, truly the root cause of what's happening for this department to just have such a negative stigma, right? And so just if you will send us that information to please CC our council members. I know Carl and I are, working on a few things, and we have a meeting scheduled to be in place. But I'll be rolling off in April, but we still have colleagues that'll be here, and these same conversations happening year after year after year after year. We have to address these things. Can't continue to keep kicking this can down the road. These issues continue to exist no matter who who may be the person that's over it carrying the department, that's the, executive administrator. The same issues keep happening, so we have to start addressing these things. So, other than that, Joe, I appreciate everything that you're doing with our department. And Mandy and I had already had a conversation too, but just wanted to reflect it for the record so people know, that we're expecting great things out of this department. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Noel?
Yes, the education committee met today, and it was absolutely a fabulous presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Dotley?
No report.
Councilman Smith?
No report, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Ledford?
Mr. Chairman, I need to offer my apologies. You will have to wait one more week for planning and zoning. It has moved to March 11th due to the March 4th elections.
I can hardly wait, but I guess I'll have to. Councilman Hester?
I'll be remiss if I don't mention this man. A man who was committed to service. In District 5, he was a gentle giant. He was a servant. He served the seniors. He worked with the Woodmore Neighborhood Association. He volunteered for the Brainerd United Methodist Church. He was a deacon for Tucker Baptist. He was part of my Blue Ribbon Commission to study a grocery store. And it was his decision that we go after root cause of why we don't have a grocery store in Brainerd. So we pivot to the youth. But on Saturday, Israel Harris, dedicated service. He lived it was a life well lived. He died. So he was committed to service. He was committed. He fought a good fight. He kept the faith. Now he's in the hands of the Almighty. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jenny Burrs?
No report.
Madam Vice Chair?
No report.
All right. Council, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.